Hello and welcome. So after the India versus Pakistan match at the Champions Trophy 2025, one of the most eagerly awaited sports events of the year, looks like everybody only has two words on their minds: Virat Kohli. And does he deserve it? Yes, he absolutely does actually. So it was quite sensational. Um, the knock itself, again, I'm sure if I say this, everybody's going to be behind me. But the knock itself, you will all agree, wasn't really the best. He was definitely still struggling. You could see that the timing, the placement was still not there. But what was there was the intent, the determination, the willpower, that feeling that I am going to do this. I guess it was there always. Truth be told, it's never been that he's ever been found lacking for want to do something, and for want to contribute. That's always been there. So, what was it different this time? Well, definitely the fact that it's a process to get back into form, I'm sure. So, it was a long way, coming. He was slowly working himself back into form, but definitely he was at a different level today, and it was, I think that was pretty obvious for everyone to see. Just the look in his eyes, and the way he set off on those singles. He almost tried to make every single convert into a two, and just the way he touched down and was ready to take off, and his overall level was at a peak level. That being said, there were so many instances. I think he was 50 of 65 balls or something. I'm not sure. Maybe 50 of 70 balls. And there were so many times when he would play 3, 4 dot balls and consume basically half the over and then take a single. So even though he was struggling in that way, in that sense, even though he was struggling, I guess where you've got to hand it to him that is that once he got to that 50 and once things settled down a bit, he definitely capitalized. You could see him going for shots much more a little bit later in the innings. Also, I think there was a tricky period when both the spinners were operating and they really were bowling very well. I think it was Abrar Ali, and he was really good, was fast, a little bit like Ashwin. I'll say a more effective Ashwin. But basically, you got to love the send off, by the way, that he gave Shubnam Gill. But anyway, so once the spinners got off, I think the pitch also was a little bit more friendly towards handling pace bowling. Although there was barely any pace this time in the pace bowling, which is a different issue. We'll come to that later. But the point is, he did make it count once the 50 was crossed. He did capitalize, did hit a few gorgeous shots. So it's not that the shots weren't there. It wasn't that he was missing in touch. But I'm really glad that this has happened. I think he really deserved it. He's gone through an extended period where things have just not worked out. You need luck in this game, and today it wasn't really luck, but I guess it was just earned right. So great thing for Indian cricket that Rohit Sharma has just scored a century recently in the England series. Shubnam Gill has scored a century recently. Virat Kohli has scored a century recently. Shreyas Iyer looks in fantastic touch. So the top four are looking A class. But coming back to Virat Kohli, by the way, so you could make out that things are just right just by there was that one over of Harris Roth where he just did two stunning cover drives. It was fantastic. Like the moment the ball left the bat, I mean, whether it went to the fielder or not, the point is you knew that he was back in form the moment that happened. And I was watching the match and I was like, oh my God, is it going to happen this time or not? And the moment that shot happened, I was like, tonight's the night, baby. It's going to happen tonight. So yeah, I'm really glad. I'm really happy. And it was kind of a sad match, actually. There wasn't really much happening in it. But for the Virat Kohli innings. I mean, you take out the Virat Kohli innings and you give him like a 50, 60 or something, it became a very dead, boring affair. Very unlike nowadays, ODI matches. Sure, 240 is a decent score, but it's like they could have scored so much more, and even we could have chased it so much faster, but that just didn't happen. So yeah, it was a okay match. kind of got bored along the way, to be honest. But the Virat Kohli century really, sparkled the whole affair. Coming back to our batting, I think Rohit Sharma is just sticking to this template fantastically well. I don't think he's going to have a great average, and I don't think he really cares. What he cares about is for the team to get off to a good start, 10 overs, 60 runs. That's the way it has to be, and that's what he's going about doing. Just going in, slashing and pulling. I mean, the six he hit of the second over, it was a statement. Forget the 6 runs, it was a statement. Okay, and the kind of mentality he's in, and that's the kind of mentality he has to be in. That's his role in the team, and I think that's what he's going to stick to, and that's going to work us wonders. So I don't think we should expect him to, on average, I'll say around 25-30, and India overall score has to be around 45-50, at least at a 6 or a 7 run rate per over thing. That's the kind of start we're looking at. If he's going to score more than that, then that's great, but that's his template, that's his role. Shubham Gill was fantastic. In my last video, remember I said 3 things. I said there has to be 3 things about Shubham Gill that says that he's in form. 1, the short-arm jab comes off well. This innings, I don't think there was any. There was only 1, which did go for 4, was fantastic. But I said the second thing that was missing was the cover drive. I said he's one of the most beautiful cover drives, and this match, there was beautiful cover drives and beautiful straight drives. Of course, Shaheen Shah Afridi obliged. Even he was in amazement of how beautiful the drive was. So he was like, chalo, le maro. And thak bolke he hit it. It was beautiful. Not quite the Sachin Tendulkar drive, but I guess we'll settle for this for now. And then, of course, there was those fantastic, cover drives with the tak bolke sound that used to come off the bat, and he was looking imperious. Truth be told, I thought he was far outscoring Kohli too, by the way, and I thought that he's going to just go way beyond, and he's definitely going to get a century. And he had to get a beauty of a delivery to get out. The delivery was fantastic. It angled in. I think all the way from that side all the way to angled in, and then just went the other way. It was fantastic. Any bowler would be proud of it, but the send off was so stupid. Oh my god! I mean, how stupid would he be feeling right now for his team? First of all, to be in losing, not in control of the match, and Utta Shanpatti, is it necessary? Anyway, I'm not going to get into that in further detail. But Shubham Gill was looking fantastic. 3, of course, was Virat Kohli. We've spoken enough about him. And I think just one more point about him is this century was down to his determination. Nothing more than that. So I didn't know this, but in the post-match, I think in Match Point, that's something that I follow a lot, Match Point. Nikhil Chopra was saying that he apparently came 2 hours ahead of time, ahead of practice yesterday, or day before rather, and got the local bowlers to bowl at him. And for a guy who is so experienced, he's got so much of runs behind him, experience behind him, the whole world is basically at his feet, number 1 batsman for forever. For him to be aware of the fact that he's not doing well and he needs to get into rhythm, call these guys and do those extra hard yards, it really shows that no matter who you are, cricket or non-cricket, there's always scope for improvement. You have to work hard and keep working hard and just wait for it to pay off, So really hats off to Kohli, to be honest. I am a Kohli fan. I don't know why people keep thinking I'm not a Kohli fan. But it's just that we've been treated to such largesse. We've been treated to a majestic, beautiful Kohli that when I see the struggling Kohli, it's just hard to digest. But anyway, so that's that. And then Shreyas Iyer. Let's talk about Shreyas Iyer's innings, because he was really struggling at one point. He was 17 of 38 balls, and I remember looking at the scorecard and I was like, what's going on? How can Shreyas Iyer be at a strike rate of 45? I mean, it's the most un-Shreyas Iyer-like thing. Looks like he heard me. That's when he went for that crazy reverse sweep, and then he went for the sweep. It was back-to-back balls and back-to-back boundaries, and after that things kind of changed. So I'm really happy the way Shreyas Iyer is batting. He used to have this tendency of being weak against the short ball, and when the ball would come, he would just like back out and like slash it over third man, and it was such a weird way of playing, and it was obvious that he was not comfortable with it. I think it was the commentators who kind of pointed out, I think it was Dinesh Karthik, if I'm not wrong, who pointed out that now he doesn't actually tap the bat on the ground anymore. He just kind of, waves it like that. It's kind of weird and distracting to the bowler. But basically, it gives him that much more time. So if the ball is there to be driven, it just comes down, and if the ball is to be hooked or pulled, it just kind of comes flat out. So I think it's brilliant. He played a couple of beautiful pull shots today. I know it's a slow pitch. It's still like a subcontinental pitch and stuff. Maybe it won't work out in a fast Australian pitch or something, but it works out now, and it's looking great. So I never thought he's going to get out, and I thought his getting out was totally against the run of play. Had he been around, I don't know if Virat Kohli would have got a century. Definitely, because the way at which he was scoring, the pace at which he usually scores, I don't think there would have been enough time. Then, of course, came our Hardik Pandya. Now, Hardik Pandya was fantastic in bowling. Don't get me wrong. I've got all the good things to say about him for bowling. But what was that with the batting? I mean, it was exactly like what I said. A couple of fantastic shots and then one shot that goes straight to a fielder. Of course, this didn't go straight to a fielder. It went behind, sure. But why? What is that urgency? Who told him to be on such a... why is there a ticking time bomb when he's batting? Why can't he just take some time? The guy is capable of so much more. I think he's just thinking every shot should be a cleanly struck four, and that's the way it is. So, in this zamana of YouTube reels, it's like his batting makes a fantastic reel. But the point is, video kahan hai, boss? Anyway, so yeah, that was that. And then, of course, towards the end, Aksar coming in was, I don't know, should KL Rahul have come in instead of Aksar? Did they want to get a right-hand, left-hand combination? Not really, because everyone so far was right-handed, right? So why suddenly get a left-hand combination over there? And Aksar was a dutiful junior. He ensured that Bade Bhaiya Virat Bhai gets his chance. And I thought when it was 3 runs to win and Aksar was on strike, he's going to swing. It's going to be a 4. It's going to be like Dinesh Karthik denying Sachin Tendulkar a century and forever for his whole life, getting hounded about it. But anyway, Aksar was a smart one. He just took a beautiful single. And then, of course, Virat Kohli obliged 4 and to hit the winning runs and score the century. India, Pakistan, can't get better than that. So yeah, that was a fantastic batting display. If anything, I felt that the middle overs could have been a little bit more proactive, a few more shots, but I wouldn't, because the fact is they were chasing a small target. So what's the point in rushing to get a higher target? It's not like NRR is going to benefit us if we win this game anyway. We're as good as through. So there was really no point in getting risky. And I think that is something that we need to understand, and you need to give things to. One very interesting thing happened during the innings. I don't know if you guys caught that, but it was so different to how it was before. So the spinner, he was bowling. It was bowling very well actually, and he kind of Virat Kohli just defended it back, and Abrar was bowling, and Virat Kohli just defended it back, and it comes to the bowler, and he just kind of flings the ball over Virat Kohli's head to the wicket keeper. You understood? In his eye line, flings the ball over the head to the wicket keeper. And what does Virat Kohli do? He's just silent. He just walks away. Because, that basically shows what was happening today. His eyes were on the prize. He was not interested in any other nonsense along the way. The Virat Kohli of the back day youth would have been crazy. It would have been mad. Okay? This time, nothing of that sort. This time he said, I need to win this game, and everything else is second to it. So I love that focus, and I love that attitude, and that's the attitude that shone through in the entire game today. In his innings today, that was the attitude that shone through. Right, so let's also talk about India's bowling. I don't know if India's bowling really was what the scoreline suggested as much as what Pakistan's batting made it out to be. That's interesting. Like before, you could definitely tell that the bowling is not yet coming along. If the top 4 batsmen are really clicked, I don't know if the 4 bowlers have really clicked yet, or the 5 bowlers. In fact, I'll say today's standout bowler was actually Hardik Pandya. I said this last time too. I feel Hardik Pandya's bowling has really come about leaps and bounds. He is just so intelligent. So he went through this period where you could see that Babar Azam and Imam weren't really taking any risks, and they were just hitting and nudging it around and getting a few singles here and there. And in comes Hardik Pandya, and straight away, you could sense that he doesn't want to bowl the conventional lines. And sure enough, he induced an edge of Babar Azam, and that's how the wicket went. And apart from that, he was so economical. Unlike the other times when he's bowled, when he's been guilty of giving away a few boundary runs. This time it just wasn't like that. Now, apart from the fact that he was economical, is also the fact that Pakistan just weren't simply willing to play their shots. It was so weird. I mean, after 10 overs, it was 52 or something for two, and then from overs 11 to 20, which is 10 overs, they scored 25 or 27 runs. I mean, what's going on? Who does that? Why were they not willing to take any risks? Why were they just willing to bide the time? And all the commentators were like, oh, this is a good platform. Oh, this is how they need to set up. See, ODIs are no longer won by scores of 240, 250, 260. I mean, it takes an exceptional bowling performance or the batting team to have like a brain fade and just melt away in order for you to win with a 230 to 250 score. So if you're going to go in that zone, you can as well just close the shop because there's no point in doing it. So you should just you should target a score that is a 270, 280 range. Why would you spend overs 11 to 20 acting like you just want to get to 250? Because that's exactly what happened. So, again, the point made by a few of the commentators, like if you have the top 3-4 batsmen who are going to bat at a strike rate of 60 or 70, then you're going to get out. So are you expecting that the guy who's coming in at 4, 5, 6 or like 5, 6, 7 is going to suddenly start scoring at 7 or 8 and over? That's not going to happen, right? So, of course, India's bowling is tight enough. We had such a beautiful choice, which comes back to my point. Does India really miss Bumrah? So the point is it doesn't. It just needs someone to bowl tight up front, and then it really would not miss a Bumrah. So Shami was good without being great. Shami's control wasn't quite there. I mean, it was pretty obvious from the first over. Pakistan had a great start, mainly thanks to the number of wides that we gave away. I think the first over had something like 5 wides. I can't remember when that happened last. I just remember that frightful time when Zach bowled a wide that went for 4 byes against Matthew Hayden, I think. This is back in the day. I was in college. 2003 World Cup final. And then he stayed at Hayden and I was like, Baapre, kuch hone wala hai. And yeah, sure enough, we lost that. So anyway, I think this was the next time I remember when the first over of innings had so many wides in it. And even Harshit Rana came in and he bowled wides, and I was thinking, is the ball swinging so much? I don't think it was swing. I think it was just a little bit of, nervousness. It's hard to say it's nervousness, but yeah, there was definitely lack of control in the first couple of overs. And I think round about the 4th or the 5th over, Shami had sort of a shin injury kind of thing where the physio was out. And then you could notice that he was bowling. And again, that swift action that was there in the beginning of the match was again not there towards the end. I mean, towards the middle part. And his dead giveaway, I was telling this with the people I was watching the match with. Every time Shami is fit and fine, he's all tucked in. And when he's not fine and when he's not fit, his shirt seems to be out. Please notice that the next time. You'll see that the shirt is out. And that's when Shami is kind of struggling physically. So yeah, Shami was, like I said, Shami was fine without being great. But again, on a good pitch, which it was a good pitch. Okay, so sorry about that. But with batters who have intent, unlike these Pakistani batters who decided not to show any intent, Shami would have been shredded. Harshit Rana, again, this side with Harshit Rana, not with Arshdeep. I'm no longer talking about why not Siraj, because he's not in the picture anymore, so there's no point. He's too busy singing songs. But with Arshdeep, why is Arshdeep wearing cool goggles and looking like Sukhbir? I don't know. He should be instead playing and he should have opened the bowling along with Shami. He would have bowled very well in the death. Harshit Rana did bowl a few good slower balls, especially towards the end. He totally outfoxed the batsman, but again, I don't know how much of that is the batsman getting outfoxed and how much is Harshit Rana smiling away after the delivery stride. But again, Harshit Rana's was okay, nothing great. Did he really create an impact? I really don't think so. Kuldeep, if you noticed Kuldeep, and this time I made it a point to notice it, he was just so fast through the air. He just wasn't even giving the ball the loop. Why is that the case? Is he scared to get hit for runs? Does he not have confidence? Does he not have rhythm? What is it? And if you saw Kuldeep fielding, you could understand that he was barely able to run up to the ball, pick it up. Definitely, he is not doing 100%. Kuldeep is definitely not doing 100%. And if you're not feeling 100%, why are you playing the guy? Why can't you go with Varun Chakravarti instead? I don't understand that. So Kuldeep at his best is fantastic. Okay, you could say that the ball that went to Shaheen Shah Afridi was fantastic, but Shaheen Shah Afridi is not really your typical batter. I think anyone would have expected the ball's going to go like that, right? So no one's going to go back foot playing to a googly and then get plumb LBW. That's the dumbest thing I've seen. But apart from that one ball, I really don't know if he's really. I guess you can say he was on a hat trick. So and Rohit Sharma was standing at slip, and had he dropped this also, would have been mad. But anyway, that wasn't the case. There was a couple of wickets that he picked. Not saying no to that, but again, I wouldn't say Kuldeep is beyond, let's say, around maybe a 6.5 on 10 is what I'll give him in today's performance. All the Indian bowlers were very economical, but once again, I don't know how much of the economy is to do with the Indian bowling and to do with the Pakistani batting. Now you could see that towards the later half of the innings, after overs 40 or so, when the intent was shown, the boundaries were there to be hit. It's just a matter of them showing intent. And like I said again in the last podcast also, the Indian batting is, you always have the superstars in batting, and batting is still a very individual game, right? But bowling is definitely a collective effort. And I still feel that bowling, we are going to be shortchanged when the right opponent comes along, which is going to happen in the next couple of games. So, okay, New Zealand, doesn't matter whether we win or lose right now. I think India and New Zealand are going to go through. And if India plays, say, a South Africa, or India plays Australia in the knockout stages, this kind of bowling will not do. It just will not do. The batting, if it clicks, maybe the batsman can overshadow the problems of the bowlers, but this kind of bowling will not do. And to be honest, I really am getting kind of nervous because now you have a week, but then after that you just have 3-4 days. So what can set right in the bowling in that time? Definitely, I'd like to do two things for the bowling. One, recognize the fact that Harshit Rana is not going to cut it, or if Mohammad Shami is not going to be fit, you got to bring in Arshdeep. So please bring in Arshdeep. I feel it's going to make a big difference. And number two, if Kuldeep is not going to be able to live up to his true potential, then bring in Varun Chakravarti. Half the guys in the South African team or the Australian team would not have played him. There would be a novelty factor, and I feel that will really help in the knockout stages, right? So overall, fielding wise, again, was it really a great effort in the field? Harshit Rana spilled a catch. Was it really tough? I don't think it was as easy as Hardik Pandya, the bowler, made it out to be. I think he got a little bit overly, maybe the weight of his watch, the costly watch, if you know what I'm saying, burdened him. But the fact is, I don't think that really was a catchable catch. I mean, 9 out of 10 times you probably won't catch it. 1 out of 10 times you do catch it. And if you do catch it, it's a memorable catch, right? Kuldeep Yadav missing out on the catch was definitely, had there been a more agile fielder at that place, definitely I think he would have held on to it. There were a couple of missed run-out chances, which I feel, we weren't good enough. And there were some ones that were being converted to twos that maybe, you could have been a little bit more proactive. But these kind of things always happen. So on a fielding basis, I'll give India maybe a 7. On a bowling basis, maybe I'll give India a 6.5. And on a batting basis, I'll give India maybe an 8. So that's the way how I see the game. But overall, the emotion and the overwhelming drama of the India-Pakistan game is over, and we're glad it's done with. It's time to get down to business. India has beat Pakistan several times at ICC tournaments and fallen short of the main coveted prize, and this time we want that prize. We want that main trophy, that ICC trophy with us. If Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli do retire from ODIs after this, if, I said if, okay, then that is something I feel they deserve, right? And also, I think India deserves some silverware with the way it plays in ODIs. We are a beast of a team in ODIs, despite all our shortcomings, and I feel we really deserve this. So let's wait and watch to see what happens. Meanwhile, I guess when we were not talking, there was a fantastic game between England and Australia, and once again, you got to admire the spirit with which the Australians played the game. Half the side is not there. It's all basically a Group B side in Australia, and they're chasing a crazy target, and they just did not give up. I mean, that is the attitude that really speaks, you know. So everybody has talent at this stage, everybody has work ethics at this stage, but the determination is really what sets one apart from the other. Regarding Pakistan, so I think the whole world is going through, all the pundits on all the podcasts are bashing them left, right, and center. So I'm not a podcast. I'm not a pundit. I'm a podcaster, but I'm not a pundit or any of that sort. So I'm really not going to bash them. But the point is, I feel that there is a level of professionality and there is a level of, not talent. Talent is not the right word. Not heart. But there is a professional attitude towards what you play and how you approach something. And I think that is what is missing, like a game plan, like an overall game plan, a strategy. And I think that is what is the biggest difference between a team like India and a team like Pakistan. So yeah, anyway, it was a thrilling match and I'm really excited. Now the next podcast is going to be next Sunday, but in the meantime, actually, I want to do a nice one where we kind of analyze each of India's players. We'll have a podcast about each of the players. It'll be a shorter one, not be so long. And let's just talk through, what their strengths, what their weaknesses, and how they've come along, and things like that. I think that'll be a very nice journey, even for me, just to recollect, how each player has come along. So I think there's a 15-man squad and maybe 4 or 5 who are not here, like Chahal, Siraj, and so on and so forth. So looking forward to seeing you guys there, and I hope you've enjoyed this. So see ya.